OnePlus has had quite a journey over the years. Originally known as the so-called flagship killer, the company now offers phones that are about as expensive as the competition, but also around as good, or sometimes even better, at least when it comes to performance and display. There has, however, always been one area in which the company lags behind the competition: the camera. The OnePlus 9 series attempts to address this. As was leaked before the fact, OnePlus has partnered with camera company Hasselblad for the OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro's cameras. The hope is that this will result in an actual better camera, but these kinds of partnerships are often more about branding than anything else. I'm gonna do two separate videos for the OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro, and in this video I'll focus on the standard OnePlus 9. But if you're looking for a OnePlus 9 Pro review, check out the link in the description. At a hefty $730, is the OnePlus 9 worth buying? Or should you go for something else? I've been using the OnePlus 9 for a while now to find out. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support my work and I would appreciate that support. The design of OnePlus phones has come a long way over the past year, at least on the standard model. Like the OnePlus 8T, the OnePlus 9 has a flat display with a rectangular camera bump on the top left corner of the back. The camera bump is a little large and causes the phone to be uneven on a table, but using it with a case will solve that issue. It's not a bad looking phone. It's not particularly unique these days given the sea of rectangular camera bumps in the top left of the back and the hole punch cutouts in the display, but it looks fine. And I appreciate that many prefer a flat display instead of one with curved edges. OnePlus included a flat display on the OnePlus 8T, and it has one on the OnePlus 9 too, though not on the OnePlus 9 Pro. Around the edges of the phone you'll get a USB-C port, a volume rocker strangely placed on the left edge, a power button, and a ringer switch. I really like that OnePlus still includes a ringer switch on its phones. It's a feature that Apple has held onto as well, and it's really helpful to have in those situations where you want or need to quickly silence your phone. The phone is available in a few different colors, including Water Mist, Arctic Sky, and Astral Black. I'm reviewing the black model and it looks nice. Again, it's not overly unique given how much of our tech is black, but it still looks fine. Given the pictures, I like the purplish Winter Mist the best of the three. It's a fair bit lighter than the OnePlus 9 Pro, and while that helps when it's in the pocket, it doesn't feel quite as premium as a result. But it's still very holdable, and at least for me, relatively easy to reach all areas of the display. Speaking of the display, it looks great. The OnePlus 9 has a 6.55-inch AMOLED display with a 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The resolution is a little lower than that on the OnePlus 9 Pro, but frankly, it doesn't really matter. You can't really tell a difference in most day-to-day use, and the high refresh rate makes for a great display experience regardless. Coupled with the excellent processing power, the phone's display is able to deliver a smooth, responsive feel, on par with that of the Galaxy S21. It also gets super bright and supports HDR10+. I really don't mind that manufacturers have been including slightly lower resolution displays on their phones. Samsung did the same thing with the Galaxy S21 compared to the Galaxy S21 Ultra, but the display on the Galaxy S21 still looks awesome. That display is also where the OnePlus 9 houses its in-display fingerprint sensor. OnePlus hasn't announced which sensor it is, but it seemed to work perfectly fine in my testing. My main complaint with the fingerprint sensor, however, is its placement. It's a little low on the display, and as a result you have to reach a bit awkwardly to use it. I would have appreciated if OnePlus moved the sensor a little further up the display. But, as mentioned, it worked well. The phone has dual stereo speakers and they sound pretty good. They get nice and loud, and the stereo setup means that they're immersive enough for gaming and listening to music. Of course, audio will sound better if you listen through headphones, and the phone supports standards like aptX and aptX HD. Under the hood, the OnePlus 9 is a dream. The phone comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 processor coupled with either 8GB or 12GB of RAM. I'm reviewing the 12GB of RAM model and it works excellently. I never ran into any skips, freezes, or crashes. The phone loaded games quickly and performed well during gaming, and even heavy multitasking was easy with this device. Frankly, you probably don't need the 12GB of RAM, you can probably easily get away with the 8GB of RAM. Generally, the OnePlus 9 is about on par with other top-end flagship phones when it comes to performance. Thanks to the 12GB of RAM, it's likely it can outperform against other devices like the Galaxy S21. We've seen the iPhone beat Snapdragon 888 equipped phones in benchmarks, and the result is that the iPhone will probably perform better for longer than the OnePlus 9. But at least for a few years, you should expect it to be able to handle everything you can throw at it. The battery capacity on the phone sits in at 4,500 mAh, and it's easily able to get you through a full day of use and into the next day. You're probably not going to get the multi-day use that you might get out of some other phones, but if you're good at keeping your devices charged up, you'll also never really have to worry about the battery. Speaking of charging, the phone supports wireless charging, and it supports OnePlus's Warp Charge 65T, which is able to fully charge the phone in only 30 minutes. That's pretty impressive. My battery benchmark, which involves streaming a YouTube video at full brightness for 3 hours, confirmed the solid results. At the end of the test, the phone had 75% left, which is pretty good, and matches the OnePlus 9 Pro. Then there's the camera, and it's the main event. OnePlus has been hyping up the camera thanks to its partnership with Hasselblad, with the idea being that this partnership will result in OnePlus phones finally having a camera on par with the latest iPhone, Pixel, or Galaxy device. The phone has a triple sensor camera system with one 48 megapixel main camera, one 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and one 2 megapixel monochrome camera. It's a pretty versatile setup, but it's a bit of a bummer that there's no telephoto camera on the OnePlus 9. For that, you have to go for the more expensive OnePlus 9 Pro. Ultimately, the camera on the OnePlus 9 is pretty good. Initially, it was hard to tell the difference between photos taken with the OnePlus 9 and those taken with the OnePlus 8, but a software update during the review process seems to have changed that a little. Photos have a decent amount of contrast and detail and are relatively colourful, but they're still not quite as good as the likes of the Galaxy S21 and iPhone 12. And with a $730 price tag, that's kind of where they need to be. In the end, the OnePlus 9 can take decent photos, but the camera still isn't very consistent, and again, photos aren't as detailed as the competition. OnePlus has been branding out a little more with its software of late, but so far, the changes it has made haven't been bad at all. The OnePlus 9 ships with OxygenOS 11, which is built on Android 11, and it's relatively stripped back. Thankfully, the phone doesn't ship with too much bloatware, except randomly for the Netflix app. There are a ton of visual differences between OxygenOS and stock Android, including the red highlights found throughout. It's a good look, and it works well. More important than the visual changes, perhaps, are the features on offer. Now, compared to previous versions of OxygenOS, there aren't a ton of new features, but you'll still get things like parallel apps and the app locker. I like the direction OnePlus has been taking with its software, but I hope it remains committed to a stripped-back experience. The OnePlus 9 is a great device, and while it's not necessarily a groundbreaking step forward for OnePlus, it is a natural progression. It performs very well, has a great software experience, and more. But OnePlus insists on continuing to raise the price of its phones, and that means that they have to be able to compete with the best devices out there. And ultimately, it's worth saving up the extra money for a Galaxy S21. That's especially true given the fact that the Galaxy S21 isn't even that much more expensive right now. Thanks again for watching this video, and again, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if it was helpful to you. Check out the description for a link to buy the OnePlus 9. My name is Christian, and I'll see you next time. See ya.